In the early 1960s, preparations began for the movie Two Rode Together. The director, John Ford, had already made a name for himself in Hollywood. He sought actors who could bring depth to the story's complex themes of loyalty, honor, and moral ambiguity. For the role of Marshal Guthrie McCabe, James Stewart was a clear choice. Known for his work in westerns, Stewart's ability to portray both strength and vulnerability made him an ideal fit. His chemistry with Ford led to a successful collaboration that brought out the nuances of McCabe's character. The part of Comanche Chief Quanah Parker required careful consideration. For authenticity, the production team chose Gilbert Roland, a Mexican-American actor with Native American ancestry. His understanding of indigenous cultures added depth to his performance, creating a memorable and moving portrayal. Sharing scenes with Stewart, Richard Widmark took on the part of Lieutenant Jim Gary. Having previously worked together, their established rapport helped create believable tension between their two characters. Their contrasting styles, Stewart's calm demeanor against Widmark's intensity, contributed significantly to the narrative's development. Playing Kate Farrow, Shirley Jones underwent several screen tests before being cast. Her talent for balancing innocence and cunning won over the selection committee. This delicate act gave life to her character, providing balance amidst the male-dominated leads. Other supporting roles included Edward Begley as Major Frazer and Henry Brandon as Stonecalf. Both veterans of previous Western films, they lent credibility to their respective parts, enhancing the overall quality of this classic. As auditions progressed, so did the formation of this unforgettable ensemble. Each actor's unique interpretation of their character shaped the movie's tone, resulting in a compelling watch even today. The director of Two Rode Together, John Ford, was already an established figure in Hollywood when he took on this project. Known for his distinct visual style and ability to extract powerful performances from his actors, Ford brought a unique perspective to the Western genre. His approach to Two Rode Together was no different. Ford drew inspiration from historical events and real-life figures, often weaving them into his narratives subtly. He aimed to create authenticity by capturing the raw beauty of Monument Valley, where much of the film takes place. This location had become something of a trademark for him, appearing in several of his previous works. Collaboration played a significant role in Ford's process. He worked closely with cinematographer William Clothier to achieve the desired aesthetic, a blend of stark landscapes and intimate character portrayals. They used techniques like high-contrast lighting and deep focus photography to emphasize both the grandeur of the setting and the nuances of the actors' expressions. When it came to working with the cast, which included James Stewart and Richard Widmark, Ford preferred a less structured approach. Instead of rigid rehearsals, he encouraged improvisation during scenes, allowing room for organic growth of dialogue and action. This method led to more genuine interactions between characters, contributing significantly to the overall feel of the movie. Despite some criticism upon release, Two Rode Together has stood the test of time, thanks largely to Ford's distinctive directional vision. Its exploration of themes such as racial prejudice and the complexities of frontier life continue to resonate today, making it a fascinating study of American culture in the mid-20th century. Let's talk about the 1961 movie Two Rode Together. This classic Western, directed by John Ford, offers a unique take on the genre, blending humor, drama, and even some surprising plot twists. One memorable scene occurs when our two heroes first meet. Their initial interaction sets the tone for their partnership throughout the rest of the film. It's both funny and revealing of each character's personality. You'll laugh, gasp, and maybe even tear up during this captivating ride. Did you know that James Stewart initially turned down his role due to scheduling conflicts? Thankfully, he changed his mind, giving us one of his most underrated performances. And speaking of actors, did you also know that Shirley Jones was reluctant to accept her part because she didn't think westerns were her thing? Well, she proved herself wrong and delivered a fantastic performance nonetheless. Now, we'd love to hear from you. What's your favorite memory or personal experience related to Two Rode Together? Share your stories and reactions in the comments below. In the early 1960s, the movie industry saw the creation of Two Rode Together, directed by John Ford. The set design was a crucial element in bringing this classic Western to life. The film required constructing entire frontier towns, complete with saloons, hotels, and stores. Art directors created detailed buildings, utilizing adobe walls and wooden structures to give an authentic feel. They also focused on small touches like torn wallpaper and faded signs, which added depth to each scene. the filming location posed its own set of challenges. To capture the vast expanse of the American West, producers chose to shoot in Monument Valley, located on the Arizona-Utah border. This remote area presented logistical issues, including housing accommodations for cast and crew members and transportation of equipment over rough terrain. However, these difficulties were worth overcoming, as Monument Valley provided breathtaking vistas that became synonymous with classic Western films. Another notable aspect of the production involved working with horses and livestock. Hundreds of animals appeared throughout the movie, requiring skilled handlers to maintain control and ensure safety during intense action sequences. Furthermore, actors had to become comfortable riding and handling their horses, often undergoing extensive training before filming began. As for technological innovations, Two Rode Together did not introduce any groundbreaking advancements. Instead, it relied on traditional cinematography techniques perfected through decades of filmmaking experience. Cinematographer William Clothier used tried and true methods such as wide shots to emphasize landscapes, close-ups for dramatic effect, and strategic lighting to evoke specific moods. Despite the lack of cutting-edge technology, the artistry displayed in Two Rode Together remains impressive. From painstakingly crafted sets to carefully chosen locations, every detail contributed to creating a rich tapestry of life on the American frontier. Let's delve into the 1961 movie Two Rode Together, directed by John Ford. This classic Western film features two main characters, Guthrie McCabe, played by James Stewart, and Lieutenant Jim Gary, portrayed by Richard Widmark. Guthrie McCabe is a laid-back, opportunistic marshal who knows how to play both sides of the law. On the other hand, Lieutenant Jim Gary is a dedicated military officer tasked with negotiating the return of white captives held by the Comanche tribe. Their paths cross when Gary enlists McCabe's help to rescue the captives, promising him a share of the reward money. The film explores themes of identity, loyalty, and redemption. As McCabe and Gary embark on their mission, they encounter several former captives, each grappling with their own unique struggles. Some yearn to reunite with their loved ones, while others have found contentment living among the Comanches and resist being taken back to civilization. These encounters force our protagonists to confront their preconceived notions of right and wrong. One notable performance comes from Shirley Jones, who plays Marty Purcell, a young woman reluctantly returned to her family after years spent with the Comanches. Despite initial resistance, she eventually forms a bond with McCabe, providing one of the film's most compelling subplots. Critics praised Two Rode Together upon its release, particularly commending Ford's direction and Stewart's nuanced performance. However, some criticized its departure from traditional Western tropes. Over the years, the film has gained recognition as a thoughtful exploration of cultural clashes and assimilation. Overall, Two Rode Together offers viewers an engaging narrative filled with complex characters and timely themes. Whether you're a fan of classic cinema or simply looking for a good story, this movie certainly warrants your attention. In the creation of Two Rode Together, the musical score and soundtrack play a crucial role in enhancing the narrative and emotional tone. Composed by the talented Nelson Riddle, the music provides depth to the storyline and intensifies the feelings portrayed on screen. The relationship between Marshal Guthrie McCabe, played by James Stewart, and the cavalry officer Lieutenant Jim Gary, embodied by Richard Widmark, unfolds throughout the movie. To emphasize their bond, Riddle composed a harmonious melody filled with camaraderie, which subtly underscores their developing friendship despite initial tensions. Furthermore, the haunting sounds of Native American flutes echo during scenes involving the Comanche tribe, creating an authentic atmosphere while highlighting cultural elements essential to the plot. These instrumentals also serve to deepen the audience's understanding of the characters' connections to indigenous peoples. To evoke the right emotions for dramatic moments, Riddle incorporated sweeping strings and powerful brass sections into his compositions. For instance, when addressing themes of captivity and loss, somber violins create a sense of sorrow, allowing viewers to fully engage with these intense scenes. Interestingly, Riddle drew inspiration from traditional Western ballads, but added his unique touch to keep the music engaging yet familiar. This blend resulted in memorable pieces like the main theme, El Deguelo, symbolizing both conflict and resolution present throughout the film. Collaboration was key to achieving success. As noted by Riddle himself, you must understand what the scene requires emotionally before you can begin to compose. By working closely with director John Ford, he successfully crafted a fitting backdrop for each situation presented in Two Rode Together. Ultimately, Nelson Riddle's masterful score elevates the viewing experience, drawing audiences further into the tale woven by this classic Western. His ability to capture mood and emotion through music remains one of the most compelling aspects of Two Rode Together even today. In contrast to the acclaim of earlier works, John Ford famously derided this film as the worst he had made in 2 decades. James Stewart and Richard Widmark faced challenges on set, both utilizing toupees and coping with hearing impairments. Ford's frustration with their difficulties led to a memorable outburst. Despite the film being perceived as a lighter take on Ford's earlier Western, The Searchers, it still retains a distinct charm and appeal. In the opening scene of Two Rode Together, the camera pans over a frontier fort, capturing the stark beauty of the American West. This striking visual introduction sets the stage for a story filled with tension and complexity. A key moment comes when Marshal Guthrie McCabe, played by James Stewart, confronts Army officer Lieutenant Jim Carey, portrayed by Richard Widmark. Director John Ford uses close-ups to highlight the contrast between the two men, one a seasoned, pragmatic gunslinger, the other an idealistic military man. The intensity of their exchange is palpable, drawing the viewer into the heart of the conflict. Cinematographer William Clothier's masterful use of light and shadow adds depth to the character interactions. For instance, during a critical conversation between McCabe and Carey, low lighting casts elongated shadows, symbolizing the complex moral terrain they must navigate. Stewart's nuanced performance as McCabe is another standout element. His initial reluctance to help rescue captured whites gives way to a deeper understanding of his own humanity. When he tearfully reveals his past failures, we see a vulnerable side of this tough lawman, making him all the more relatable. The climactic shootout scene is also noteworthy. Here, Ford combines wide shots revealing the vastness of the landscape, with quick cuts to heighten the sense of danger. As bullets fly and horses gallop, the chaos underscores the brutal reality of life on the frontier. Although overshadowed by some of Ford's other works, Two Rode Together has left its mark. Its exploration of racial prejudice and the costs of violence continues to resonate today. According to actor Shirley Jones, who plays a central role in the narrative, working on this film was a significant experience because it tackled challenging issues often overlooked in Westerns. In Two Rode Together, the final film of Bobette Bentley's career, a notable scene features 2 veteran actors, James Stewart and Richard Widmark, sitting by a river. The dialogue in this particular scene was mainly impromptu, with Widmark contributing significantly to its creation. Richard Widmark's journey to this point was quite impressive. After graduating from college in 1938, he ventured to New York City following a friend's offer of a radio soap opera audition. Winning the role proved fortuitous, leading to a bustling career in both radio and Broadway. By the time he appeared in Two Rode Together, his experience and talent were evident. As for the spontaneous conversation between Stewart and Widmark by the river, it adds a layer of authenticity to their performances. Their ability to think on their feet demonstrates their professional prowess, further enhancing this classic film. The 1961 Western film, Two Rode Together, struck a chord with audiences due to its gripping storyline and complex characters. Directed by John Ford, it explored racial tensions and the harsh realities of life on the frontier. Set in the aftermath of the Civil War, the movie delved into the controversial topic of integrating Native American children into white society. This theme was particularly significant during the time period when the film was released, as the United States government was actively pursuing assimilation policies towards Native Americans. Moreover, the film featured strong performances by James Stewart and Richard Widmark, who played 2 lawmen tasked with negotiating the return of white captives held by Comanches. Their portrayals added depth and nuance to the characters, making them relatable and memorable to viewers. Two Rode Together also had a profound influence on popular culture. Its depiction of the Wild West differed significantly from earlier films in the genre, which often romanticized life on the frontier. Instead, the movie presented a grittier, more realistic view of the challenges faced by those living in the region. Furthermore, the film sparked conversations around issues related to race, identity, and belonging. Audiences were forced to confront their own biases and assumptions about Native Americans and other marginalized communities. These discussions helped to raise awareness about the need for greater understanding and respect among different groups of people. Overall, Two Rode Together left an indelible mark on both cinema and society. Through its powerful storytelling and thoughtful exploration of relevant social and cultural themes, it continues to inspire and engage viewers today. John Ford closed down production on the movie for a week after Ward Bond died on 11/5/60, so he could help organize Bond's funeral service. This was not a personal project for John Ford, but something he did only for the money, and as a favor to Columbia Pictures head Harry Cohn, who died in 1958. Ford said he admired Cohn like a large, brilliant serpent. The director hated the material, believing he had done a far better treatment of the theme in The Searchers. Even after he brought in his most trusted screenwriter, Frank Nugent, to fix the script, the director said it was still crap. The movie Two Rode Together is based on a novel by Ernest Hemingway, and the story, two men are riding horses together when one falls off. They continue on their journey together until they reach a small town where one man stays while the other continues on. The story explores themes of loneliness and isolation. Two Rode Together, released in 1961, was directed by John Ford and featured James Stewart and Richard Widmark in leading roles. The film received mixed reviews from critics, although it did have its share of supporters who appreciated the complex themes and character development. Critics like Bosley Crowther of the New York Times praised the film's solid craftsmanship, but criticized its lack of originality. On the other hand, Variety magazine called it a superior Western, citing its taut direction and fine performances. A common critique among reviewers was the uneven pacing, which some felt detracted from the overall impact of the story. Despite receiving mixed reviews, Two Rode Together has since been recognized for its contributions to cinema. For instance, the American Film Institute included it in their list of top 10 Western films, demonstrating its lasting influence on the genre. Moreover, James Stewart's performance earned him praise from audiences and critics alike, further solidifying his status as a Hollywood legend. The movie also garnered attention during award season, earning a nod for Best Cinematography at the Academy Awards. While it didn't win in this category, being nominated alongside distinguished cinematographers speaks volumes about the visual appeal and artistry present in Two Rode Together. These accolades signify that even if a film doesn't receive universal acclaim upon release, it can still resonate deeply with both industry professionals and general viewers over time. They serve as testaments to the dedication and talent invested by everyone involved, whether they were behind the camera or performing in front of it. During the filming of the movie, Richard Widmark and James Stewart both wore hairpieces and had hearing problems. Director John Ford once exclaimed, "Great, so this is what my career has come to, directing two deaf hairpieces." Olive Carey, who played Mistress Abby Frazer, was the real-life mother of Harry Carey Jr., who portrayed Ortho Clegg. Initially, Richard Widmark was hesitant to take on the role, feeling he was too old for the young lieutenant character he played. In the heat of the Texas summer, director John Ford faced challenges while shooting Two Rode Together. The relentless sun caused discomfort for the cast and crew, but it also led to an unexpected benefit: the authentic, dusty look on screen. James Stewart, known for his easygoing demeanor, formed a close bond with his co-star Shirley Jones. Their friendship often manifested off-screen, with Stewart entertaining Jones by playing pranks and cracking jokes. This camaraderie translated onto the screen, enriching their shared scenes in the movie. A unique aspect of the film was its inclusion of Native American actors. Richard Widmark, who played the lead role, insisted on working with actual indigenous people rather than non-native actors in makeup. As a result, many Comanche tribe members were hired to portray themselves, contributing genuine cultural representation to this classic Western. However, tensions arose when some tribal members expressed concern over the depiction of their culture in the storyline. To alleviate these concerns, producer Walter Mirisch held meetings with them to discuss their grievances and make necessary adjustments where possible. Despite the sweltering conditions and cultural sensitivities, the cast and crew persevered, creating a memorable motion picture. Today, Two Rode Together stands out as one of Ford's lesser-known yet significant works, shedding light on the complex relationships between settlers and native populations during the Old West era. The critical and commercial failure of the movie was mainly attributed to its script, which many found unengaging and monotonous. Moreover, the two leading actors, James Stewart and Richard Widmark, were considered too old for their respective roles, being 53 and 45 years old at the time of filming. Despite its shortcomings, the movie boasts an impressive cast, several of whom went on to star in John Ford's subsequent film, The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance. These actors include James Stewart, John Quallen, Woody Strode, Andy Devine, Willis Bouchey, and Jeanette Nolan. Additionally, Two Rode Together marks the final film appearance of Edward Brophy, who passed away during production. Two Rode Together, directed by John Ford in 1961, remains significant in film history due to its exploration of race and gender themes during a time when such discussions were rare. This classic Western stars James Stewart and Richard Widmark, offering a fresh take on the genre through their complex characters. The movie influenced future filmmakers by challenging traditional Western stereotypes. Its nuanced portrayal of Native Americans deviated from typical depictions of the time, paving the way for more authentic representation in later films. Additionally, the film delved deeper into moral ambiguity, making it a precursor to modern anti-hero narratives. This complexity resonated with audiences and critics alike, inspiring several adaptations and homages. For instance, Clint Eastwood's Unforgiven drew inspiration from Two Rode Together, reflecting the latter's profound effect on the cinematic landscape. Even television shows like Deadwood bear traces of this influential film, proving its far-reaching impact on storytelling and popular culture. In the film Two Rode Together, Henry Brandon takes on the role of a Comanche chief once again, having previously played one in John Ford's The Searchers. This time, he portrays the real-life figure Quanah Parker. The casting of another key character, Marshal Guthrie McCabe, proved challenging. A suggestion was made to bring in Henry Fonda, but owing to a disagreement between him and John Ford, it couldn't materialize. Notably, Two Rode Together features yet another appearance from the accomplished acting duo John McIntire and Jeanette Nolan, known for their work together both on and off-screen. In the 1961 film Two Rode Together, Henry Brandon, who previously portrayed the renegade Comanche chief Scar in The Searchers, takes on a new role. Another notable detail is the recurring use of a distinctive wallpaper pattern, initially seen in John Ford's The Long Gray Line. Interestingly, it decorates the Frazers' home in Two Rode Together, even though both movies are set in different places and times. Additionally, James Stewart worked alongside African-American actor Woody Strode twice, in Two Rode Together and The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, which followed soon after. According to Strode, Stewart was one of the nicest men you'll ever meet anywhere in the world. Despite playing tough characters, his kindness extended off-screen as well. In this classic, James Stewart donned his signature cowboy hat for the last time, following its use in several previous films. Contrary to his usual appearance, director John Ford initially disliked the hat, considering it one of the worst-looking cowboy hats. Despite Stewart's attachment to it, Ford decided against allowing it in their next collaboration, The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance. One notable scene features a lengthy two-shot of Stewart and Richard Widmark conversing by a riverbank. While Ford claimed his choice to keep both actors in frame resulted from his fondness for widescreen compositions, some sources suggest otherwise. Reportedly, Ford compelled his crew to stand waist-deep in the freezing water all day until the desired take was achieved, revealing a more demanding side of the esteemed director. The production took place at the Alamo Village, previously constructed for another film, The Alamo. By utilizing existing sets, the team efficiently filmed portions of Two Rode Together while maintaining historical accuracy. In the 1961 film Two Rode Together, renowned actor James Stewart wore his signature hat, which caught the attention of director John Ford. Known for his unique approach to directing, Ford playfully expressed his displeasure, stating, "Great, now I have actors with hat approval." Stewart, having been forewarned about Ford's unconventional methods by colleagues like John Wayne and Henry Fonda, found himself amidst deliberate tension. Ford favored keeping his cast uncertain regarding the film's trajectory while fostering mutual suspicion among them. As Stewart later shared in Andrew Sinclair's biography John Ford, these indirect directions arrived through whispers or hushed tones, creating ambiguity and unease on set. Meanwhile, another notable figure associated with Two Rode Together is Dean Smith. His exceptional rodeo skills earned him induction into the esteemed Texas Rodeo Cowboy Hall of Fame in 2006, a testament to his dedication and mastery in the sport. While details surrounding their collaboration remain sparse, it's clear that both men left indelible marks in their respective fields during that era. And even today, we continue to appreciate their contributions to cinema and sports alike. Delving deeper into this period evokes curiosity about how relationships unfolded behind the scenes, further enriching our understanding of this classic. In 1961, the movie Two Rode Together featured actor James Stewart, who held the highest active military rank of any actor in history. He served in the U.S. Army Air Forces during World War II and rose to the rank of colonel. After the war, he continued serving in the U.S. Air Force Reserve, ultimately becoming a brigadier general. James Stewart later admitted he was disappointed with his character's dark side. Additionally, Gertrude Astor, one of the first actresses to work for Universal Studios, appeared in the film under Two Flags in 1915. In the initial stages of casting for Two Rode Together, John Wayne was under consideration for the lead role of Marshal Guthrie McCabe. However, due to his unavailability, the part went to another actor. The production of this classic film brought together several notable figures in Hollywood, including director John Ford, known for his partial deafness, and actors Richard Widmark and James Stewart, who also experienced hearing difficulties during filming. Widmark later expressed that he enjoyed working on this movie more than any other project in his career, humorously describing their collective challenge with hearing as a situation where they would frequently ask each other, "What?" Despite these obstacles, the cast and crew managed to create a memorable piece of cinema. In the film, actor Andy Devine faced significant challenges due to his health. He struggled with alcoholism during production, which affected his performance and relationships with other cast members. Despite these issues, Devine remained professional and completed his work on the movie. However, just 2 years later, he passed away due to complications from liver disease. His death was a shock to both the cast and crew of the film and the wider Hollywood community. The loss of such a talented and experienced actor left a void that could never truly be filled. Did you know that Two Rode Together hit theaters in 1961? This classic Western, starring James Stewart and Richard Widmark, might have been released over 6 decades ago, but its influence still resonates today. If you've seen it, we would love to hear about your personal connection. How did this movie affect you when you first watched it? What moments stood out to you? How has it shaped your appreciation for Western films, or perhaps even your broader view of cinema? By sharing your thoughts and memories, you can help create a lively discussion around this enduring piece of art. We invite everyone who loves movies to engage with us by liking, sharing, and commenting below. Tell us if you feel Two Rode Together left a mark on you. Whether you were captivated by the performances, immersed in the storyline, or simply enjoyed the nostalgia of watching a vintage Hollywood production, please let us know. If our exploration of these timeless productions stirs up excitement, consider subscribing so you don't miss future posts delving into other memorable flicks. Here's to cherishing and preserving the magic of the silver screen together. Let the conversation begin.